What's going on, Minties? The Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition. And today I'm going to do a pretty cool unboxing of the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes Box set. So please stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing that comes with this box set is one of these little flags that we've seen with the Infinity Gauntlet and the Civil War box set. Now let's see here what this one looks like. By the way, as I'm opening this up, I want to thank David Gabriel and Marvel for sending me this box set. Let's see. Alright, let's do a zoom out of this flag. And there it is. The flag all folded out. It's made out of this nice, slick material. Let's look at the box real quick. Here is the side, the back. Okay, so what they give you is the timeline. Ah, okay, that's kind of cool. So you get Avengers from 1967. You get an Avengers story from 1971. We'll go look in those here in a second. You get an Avengers story from 86, 98, 2004, 2018, and 1963, where it all began. And the top is Avengers. The bottom is just your label. Okay, so let's open this up. First of all, I love the way that this opens and closes. Just it's a nice, gratifying sound for some reason. For some reason, I think of the Nintendo Switch and how much research it went to make that sound so perfect when it clicks onto the dock. I think I'm the only one that probably notices things like that. This is what it looks like on the inside. It's that beautiful George Perez from the relaunch of the Heroes Return, issue 1 with Kurt Busiek. So now let's look at each book. So as you can see, it all spells out Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. And then what they've done that's a lot different than most of the other box sets that I've seen is just taken some of their favorite stories from Avengers. As you see, it's missing the crossing, right? But who's at fault for that? Nobody. And really quick, I want to point out the fact that these are standard size. They don't come with a dust jacket. And they're all individually wrapped, so I left this one here wrapped, and we'll look at that here in a second. And each book spells out a letter or a part of the Avengers here. So let's compare it to the size of a trade paperback and a standard size hardcover. So for example, this is one of the Epic collections. As you can see, it's the size of an Epic if the Epic had a hardback. And here it is compared to a Marvel Premiere hardcover, which they don't discontinue this line right here. So as you can see, it's the same size. And just one more comparison to an omnibus. As you can see, the omnibus is bigger. The retail price of this is $500, but there are several places you can get it for $250. So let's see what it collects. This is the first volume. This kicks off the Avengers, the classic lineup of Thor, Hulk, who didn't last very long, Iron Man, Ant-Man, and Wasp. This is by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, and this just collects the Jack Kirby run. So it's issues 1 through 16, I believe. And let's start flipping through here. So you can see the paper is really nice and glossy and thick, too. I like that about it. And even though Jack Kirby stopped doing the artwork by issue 16, I believe he did a lot of covers. So in the back here, they collected his covers that he did, that only Jack Kirby did. So that's how they kick it off. The next thing we have is the Kree-Skrull War. Now, if you watch our show, you know that we've done this with Old Reader, New Reader. This is the classic Neil Adams, Roy Thomas, and John Buscema story that collects Avengers 89 through 97. If you want to click on the link up above, you can see our review of it and what the ladies thought of this book. So most of these have already been collecting in another format, whether it was an omnibus or whether it was a Marvel Premiere or an Epic line. This here is the Avengers Defenders War. I want to say this is 117 and 119 of Avengers, and then, actually, it should tell you, by the way, there's nothing on the back of these. It's just artwork, which is really nice, because they're not sold individually, right? So there's no point in doing anything on the back. So instead, they tell you it's where it's collected, where you would find it in old trade paperbacks. Oh, I was off. It's 115 and 118, and then Defenders 8 through 11. So let's look a little bit at that artwork here. And moving on to the next book, this is Avengers Celestial Madonna. This has been previously collected before. This collects, I believe, Avengers 129 to 135 and giant size Avengers number 2 through 4. I was just showing the binding here. It's just, this is probably my favorite kind of binding for books this small, and that is the sewn binding, believe it or not. So I think that's really nice that they did that. So the book really holds nice together. And moving on to the Corvax Saga, collecting issues 167 to 168, 170 to 177, and then Thor Annual number 6. As I was looking through this box set, I was trying to think to myself, this must have been a really hard decision. Like, who gets to make the calls? Like, that the editors all have to choose what their favorite Avengers story was? And then which story do you pick to represent what era? Because you don't want to just stick to a bunch of 70s or 80s or 90s stories. You want to spread them out. So I was thinking, what would be my favorite Avengers story to put in here? So right off the bat, I could tell you that it's got 3 of my favorite stories. You've got the Corvax Saga, which is one of my personal favorites. And then you have Under Siege, which is my other favorite. And then, yes, Avengers. Oh, man, this is so... the Morgan Saga. Actually, this is the thinnest book. I stand corrected. Under Siege. If you've never read this, oh my God, Marvel, please let there be an Avengers Roger Stern omnibus, because the man so deserves it. It is written by Roger Stern and John Buscema. This collects issues 270 to 277 of Avengers, and it is probably up there amongst my top 3 favorite Avengers story of all time. This is John Buscema on artwork. This is Roger Stern at the top of his game. Just some amazing things that happen in here, and this is one that I was hoping people would vote for when we did a poll for which old reader, new readers Avengers story we should read next. But the artwork is just awesome. I miss John Buscema. This is the classic cover. They even used this for their Marvel premiere. So as I said, most of this, actually all of this, with the exception of maybe this book right here, has been collected in another format, and this is the Gatherer Saga. But it has been collected in an epic format, or rather, the start of an epic format. This is the collection Obsession. So some of it is out, because this collects issues 334 to 344. The Gatherer Saga in here just kind of jumps all over the place. As a matter of fact, I think... Here's the back of it. This is awesome. This is my Steve Epting leather jacket days of Avengers. So I think it starts off with 343 to 344, if I'm not mistaken. And then it jumps forward to 348 to 349. And then, yeah, you can see right here what it collects. 348 to 349, 355 to 364, and 372 to 375. That's kind of a big jumping off. But I know what they're doing, right? Because it was one huge saga that Bob Harris wrote. And honestly, this is, if you're not going to collect The Crossing as far as epic storytelling back then, this is probably one that I'm glad that they decided to go with. And then, of course, things like The Crossing happened, and Heroes Reborn, and Heroes Return. So we get my favorite Avengers story ever, my favorite collection of Avengers. This has been collected in 2 omnis. But this is the first 4 issues of Avengers. Volume 2, issues 1 through 4. The Morgan Conquest. This is, oh my God, this is brilliant. This is Kurt Busiek and George Perez. That's where that image comes from back there. This is every Avenger ever put together, traveling through time. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. I can't wait to reread these with the ladies on Old Reader, New Readers. But not only did we get that, but we also get probably one of the best Avengers story if you've ever read any of the Avengers. And this is Avengers Forever. This is the Maxi series, Avengers Forever 1 through 12. With this beautiful artwork by Carlos Pacheco, still written by Kurt Busiek. This has also been collected in Volume 2 of the Omnibus, I believe, or maybe Volume 1. I can't remember. But it's in one of the Omnis. This is back when I loved Carlos Pacheco's style. I love this art style that he had back then. Now, it's a lot different. I don't know. It's not... just doesn't look as action-packed as it did here. Here, I think, is where he perfected his art. I think it's beautiful. It's perfect. The panels just really flow together, and I'm sorry, I'm reviewing the book, sorry, maybe I shouldn't do that and just focus on what the contents are. Now, let's move on to Avengers Disassembled. So this collects issues 500 to 503, and then the Avengers finale. This is when Brian Michael Bendis started writing the book, art by David Finch, and just kind of redid everything and started over and kicked off the new series with New Avengers. Now, as I flip through here, it's probably what a lot of people are used to. You're probably asking who this box set is for, right? Well, as a completist, and you already own the other box sets, then yeah, probably this is the box set for you. As somebody that has the Avengers omnibuses, they don't have all of this collected in Omni format, I will say that. So maybe you might want to double dip. As somebody that has the trades and epics and some of the Marvel Premiere stuff, maybe. To somebody new reading Avengers, I mean, I don't know. If you have a friend that wants to get into Avengers because of, I forgot, Oliver Copiel did the art, that part, flashbacks. If you have a friend that's trying to get into Avengers, is this the way to do it? Well, it depends on how much you love your friend, right? Because this is a $500 box set. But I really think they did an amazing job just collecting each story from a different time in the Avengers. I think I don't know what I would have taken away or what I would have added. It's a hard choice. So if you already own these stories, it really depends on what you're like. Yeah, if this was an X-Men box set, you're damn right I'd be buying it. So if you're an Avenger guy, more than likely this is for you. If Avengers is your favorite story and you just want to have the classic stories in one location that you can just pick out at any time, this is the box set for you. If you're new to Avengers, this is the perfect box set for you too. Telling somebody to go and spend $500, keep in mind that's retail, on a box set, it's kind of hard to do. But I think they did an amazing task of just collecting stories, probably the best of the best stories of Avengers from different times. It's all subjective, right? But let's be honest, a lot of these probably belong in most people's top 10 list. If you're trying to get into Avengers, then this might be the way to do it, because a lot of people are turned off by that Silver Age style of storytelling. So there's different eras here. You got the 90s, you got the aughts, and you have even, well, let's look at the final volume here. This book just came out in 2018, so you even have a book that just came out last year. And like I mentioned, each one of these is shrink wrapped. And look at what this collects. This is the Jason Aaron and Ed McGuinness and Paco Medina run that is still ongoing. And now I think it's part of the War of the Realms storyline. So Avengers the Final Host. Collecting the first 6 issues and then the free comic book day with art by Sarah Pichelli. And if you want to see our review, Amanda and I did a review of that on Reviews in a Flash. But I think it's pretty cool that they even added this. I'm surprised they didn't add any new Avengers. And out of curiosity, I want to know what you guys think. What did they leave out? What would you have added? What would you have replaced? Or is this what you think is a great representation of the greatest Avenger stories? Because I would have such a difficult time with something like Wolverine or X-Men. If somebody were to ask me, hey, Omar, I need the 10 best Wolverine stories from different eras, right? That being the key. Because, I mean, honestly, to me, I would have put so much more Kurt Busiek, like his entire run just about. But that's just me. And like I said, it's all subjective. And that's it. And that was everything in the box set. Let me know in the comments down below if you're planning on purchasing this, or if you are going to buy it for somebody, or if you passed up on it. Again, this was the Uncanny Omar. And remember to hit that subscribe button if you enjoy the content of this video and want to see more videos like this. Hit that notification button. Don't forget to follow us on our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at NearMintCon. And remember, if it's classy and cool, it must be near mint.